I'm Sarah Lee.
And I'm Ashton with an E.
And today we come to you with breaking news. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, Japan launched a surprise aircraft attack and bombed Pearl Harbor, killing over 2,000 Americans. 19 U.S. Navy ships, 8 of which were battleships, were also destroyed in the attack.
America had previously stated we planned on staying neutral throughout the whole war and had passed several neutrality acts to prevent us from going to war because we were still struggling from the Great Depression and the effects from the First World War.
But President Franklin D. Roosevelt had a meeting with Congress today asking for permission to declare war. To no surprise, with almost a unanimous vote, his request was granted. The U.S. has officially declared war, and we are now in World War II. As this war rages on with no end in sight, you can count on us for the newest updates. It is now January of 1942, and the new year has led to new developments to help the war efforts, including the War Production Board, National War Labor Board, the Office of Price Administration, the Women's Army Corps, and the Executive Order 9066. Let's take a look at what each of these developments have done. The War Production Board ensured that each factory received the materials needed to operate efficiently in order to produce the most war goods in the shortest amount of time. The National War Labor Board was ultimately created to peacefully settle labor disputes in order to prevent strikes or lockouts in war industries.
The Office of Price Administration was created to limit consumption by rationing and placing a ceiling on prices of most goods, allowing for more goods and money to be spent on creating military resources.
The Women's Army Corps was a U.S. Army women's unit created to enable women to serve in non-combat positions such as nurses, clerks, secretaries, and other helpful jobs behind the scenes. Executive Order number 9066 was the authorization to remove all people of Japanese ancestry from the West Coast and place them into internment camps to prevent them from giving Japanese military useful information.
We have just received word that a new form of communication has begun. The Navajo Code Talkers are Native Indian Americans, and they have been working with the U.S. to communicate back and forth in their native language. This is a very smart move for the U.S., seeing as other countries cannot understand what they are saying.
It is June 6, 1942, and today we have brought our team on site at the Battle of Midway. This battle has begun just a few days ago and is between the U.S. and Japan, and is looking really hopeful for our U.S. troops. If the U.S. are able to secure a victory in this battle, it will crush all of Japan's hopes of neutralizing the U.S. as naval powers.
Dwight D. Eisenhower served under various generals before being promoted to brigadier general in 1941. He is a key asset to the U.S. Army. He led the beginning phases of the Italian campaign, which helped the Allied powers gain control of the Mediterranean Sea and take down Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. But he was taken off the Italian campaign and reassigned to lead the invasion of Western Europe in December of 1943.
It's been a couple years since the U.S. took the victory over Japan at the Battle of Midway. It's now late summer of 1944, and on June 6, Normandy was raided by the Allied powers. They codenamed this invasion D-Day. The raid was led by Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was put into the role of Supreme Allied Commander and helped lead the troops to break down the Atlantic Wall. And if everything goes to plan, in less than a month, Western Europe and Paris may finally be liberated from Nazi control.
This attack has marked the largest amphibious attack in the history of warfare, landing 150,000 Allied troops by sea and air. 4,413 Allied troops were killed, and around 4,000 to 9,000 Germans were killed. But by the end of the day, the Allies had established a foothold along the coast and could begin their advancement into France. If everything goes as planned, the German resources would be drained and they would lose access to key military sites, securing a bridgehead into Normandy, which would allow the Allies to establish a viable presence in northern Europe for the first time.
Hello everyone, we have breaking news. Today is April 12th, 1945, and we have just received word that our beloved Franklin D. Roosevelt has passed away at the age of 63. This means that Vice President Harry S. Truman will now take office. Truman has only been vice president for just 3 months.
Unfortunately, one of our sources from inside the White House has informed us that Truman rarely saw the president before his passing and has not been kept up to date with the war efforts and other key details concerning the American government.
Welcome back, everyone. It is late 1945, and it has been a few months since our last segment. The war is finally over. Ashton with an E and I will tell you about some of the most important events that have happened in the final year of the war. On May 8th, Victory over Europe Day, or VE Day, occurred when Germany surrendered its powers to the Allies, including the U.S. This marked the official end of the war for European powers. During July through August, the Potsdam Conference met to discuss plans to disarm and demilitarize Germany, which would be divided into 4 Allied occupation zones, controlled by the United States, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union.
Thanks, Sarah Lee. Now let's get into one of the biggest and most important events of the whole war, the dropping of the atomic bomb. Starting on August 13, 1942, the Manhattan Project was a research and development undertaking that produced the world's first nuclear weapons. Albert Einstein helped begin the project after writing a letter to the president informing him of Nazis' plan to create a new and extremely dangerous weapon, and was able to convince him that the U.S. needed to begin its own project to create it first. They followed through with this plan on August 6th and August 9th of 1945. Almost 200,000 died in this attack. U.S. military forces felt that dropping these bombs were necessary because it was the only way they knew how to get Japanese to surrender. We actually received live footage of the bomb being dropped, so let's watch that now.
The war officially ended on September 2nd, 1945, when Japan surrendered for good. This day is known as Victory over Japan Day, and it marked a successful victory for a long and bloody war for the United States.
We want to thank you all for tuning in and letting us give you updates over the past few years. Your support means so much to us. And as always, I'm Ashton with an E.
And I'm Sarah Lee.
And we're signing out until next time.
Could you see by the bird's early night? Once so bright.